Right now, a war is unfolding that could reshape the global economy, redraw power in the Middle East, and possibly drag the world into a deeper crisis. But here's the problem. When wars are happening in real time, truth and propaganda collide. Facts blur with narratives, and what you're told may not be the full picture. So the real question is, what is actually happening inside the Iran war? Welcome back. Today, we are breaking down one of the most complex and dangerous conflicts happening right now, the war involving the United States, Israel, and Iran. This is not just about missiles and airstrikes. It's about nuclear fears, regime survival, oil, and global power. And even though the situation is confusing, we are going to make sense of it, step by step. As it stands, the United States and Israel are conducting an air war focused on one primary goal: to destroy Iran's nuclear program. Both countries see even the possibility of Iran developing a nuclear weapon as unacceptable, because even a small chance of such a weapon becoming operational could lead to catastrophic consequences. The first wave of US strikes targeted Iran's nuclear development facilities, but those strikes only achieved partial success. So what happened next? The campaign expanded. The mission became bigger, not just damaging nuclear capability, but applying pressure that could reshape Iran's leadership itself. There was a belief, especially in Washington, that regime change might be possible. Why? Because anti-government protests had already taken place inside Iran, with unrest in the streets and significant casualties. This created the idea that military pressure from outside, combined with internal dissatisfaction, could weaken the system enough to force change. But regime change was never the final goal. It was a means to eliminate the nuclear threat and create a less destabilizing Iran in the region. Now, a new supreme leader has taken power. But unlike before, authority appears more divided. Decision-making is being shared, and control over the powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, does not seem absolute. This is where the situation becomes even more complicated. With parts of Iran's leadership and infrastructure damaged, the system of command and control has weakened. And in that vacuum, the IRGC, Iran's most powerful military force, appears to be operating with significant independence, not rogue, but acting based on its own battlefield decisions. This was visible early in the conflict, when regional countries were struck by drones and missiles. Interestingly, Iran's president, seen as relatively weak, apologized to those countries. That suggests something important. Military actions may not have been fully aligned with political leadership. At the same time, efforts are likely underway to bring the IRGC back under tighter government control, while the leadership itself is still trying to define its strategy beyond simple survival. Given this situation, the strategy of the United States and Israel becomes clearer. Their goal now is to cripple the IRGC before the new Iranian government can fully stabilize and take control. Because if the IRGC is weakened early, the government becomes militarily vulnerable. The IRGC is not a small force. It is highly trained, well-armed, and spread across Iran, with drones, missiles, and ground forces. But here's the key weakness. It depends on logistics and supply networks, and those networks, often fixed and visible, can be targeted. This is why much of the conflict is likely happening in remote areas, not major cities. And notably, only a few Western aircraft losses have been reported, raising questions about the effectiveness of Iran's air defenses or the limits of available information. But this war is not just military, it's economic. Iran plays a major role in global oil supply, and at the center of it all is one critical location: the Strait of Hormuz. Nearly 1/4 of the world's oil passes through this narrow route. If it's disrupted, global prices surge. Economies feel the shock instantly. Iran understands this. That's why attempts to close or threaten the strait can directly impact the United States and its allies, especially where rising fuel prices affect everyday life. At the same time, the IRGC has another option: target oil facilities across the region. Even limited damage can reduce production, and since repairs take time, the impact can last much longer than the attack itself. Now bring in global players. Russia may benefit from higher oil prices and is already occupied with Ukraine, so it's unlikely to intervene directly. China, on the other hand, faces a different challenge. Higher oil prices hurt its economy. While it has criticized the attacks, it is unlikely to provide military support, and instead may hope for stability. So where does this leave the United States? Washington has three main options: cripple the IRGC quickly, push for a government that can control it, or fight for control of the Strait of Hormuz. Each option comes with serious risks. In the end, everything comes down to one question: can Iran's leadership regain control over the IRGC? Or will the conflict escalate even further? Because if air power fails, the alternative, a ground war, could be long, costly, and unpredictable. And history has shown, those kinds of wars rarely end the way they begin. The stakes are no longer just regional, they are global. And what happens next could define the future of this entire decade.